Path Media. I was a minimum wage movie theater usher that made good and became a top earner in my network marketing company. Now, after 16 plus years in the profession, I'm finally teaching myself how to leverage the internet with online marketing and social media marketing to continue to grow and expand my business. My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today is going to be an awesome episode for you network marketers out there because we're going to talk about 3 reasons why your social media strategy is not working. That's right, why it's not working. Anyways, before we get into all of that, I want to remind you, if you're not already part of our Facebook community, come join us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/groups/path of the network marketer. I'm going to be going live there periodically. So, there's going to be more content there that's not necessarily going to be available here on the show, on the podcast. So, I think more importantly too, it's going to be more of a two-way interaction, right? We can have more of a conversation. I encourage you, I encourage people that are part of that community to share what they're going through, right? Share what might be working for them, share what might not be working for them, right? Share what you might be struggling with. That to me is really the meaning and purpose of community, so that we can support each other on our journeys. And that's really what I want our community to be about on Facebook. So again, it's facebook.com/groups/path of the network marketer. I'll put the link in the show notes of this episode. Okay, so let's get right into it. 3 reasons why your social media strategy is not working. Number 1, you're using the old school offline tactics online. Now, I talked about this in a recent episode that, some of the things that we've considered fundamentals in network marketing aren't actually true fundamentals, but rather they're very specific strategies and tactics. And so when we try to take these offline strategies and tactics online, thinking that they're fundamentals, they don't work at all because they're not actual true fundamentals. For example, starting conversations. Offline, it's relatively simple, right? Like as long as you're non-threatening and you have a friendly demeanor and the other individual is receptive to it, you can pretty much strike up a conversation in any situation and then develop rapport and so on and so forth. Online, however, it works in a completely different way. And what I've done and what I actually see people do today is that they'll post, they'll blast their feed with their products, their goods, their services, their opportunity, thinking that that's what's going to start conversations. And that's just not how it works, right? Like with social media, it's a different order of operations, right? It's a different PEMDAS for those of you who remember old school math, right? PEMDAS, I don't know. That's a really, really old school reference. Anyways, it's a different order of operations. And I like to kind of think about it this way. If you're using social media for your network marketing business, the stuff that you post on your feed, it's going to be more of a courting process before you actually start the conversation. So you have to give people a reason to engage with your post, right? You have to continually provide value on your feed. And that's what is that courting process, so that when you do post something about your products, goods, or services, then they'll be more apt to listen to it, right? So think about it in that way. Blasting your products, your opportunity on your social feed especially without any context, is not going to work, right? You got to do more than that. You got to establish that authority. You have to establish that influence. Number 2. You're using your company's media assets without context, right? I see this all the time. And again, this was a mistake that I made in the past. And I get it, right? Like our companies are, they're well-meaning and they provide us with awesome media assets. My company, Yoli, we have a great media department. We have a great marketing department, and all the assets that they give us in the field are beautiful, right? The problem is, it's not going to amount to a hill of beans if you're just sharing this stuff, right? And even if you post about the value and the benefits of the particular product or service that you're posting about, again, it's not going to amount to a hill of beans because it has no context outside of a pretty picture. You have to share what it's done for you and how it's positively impacted your life. Otherwise, people aren't going to care. I mean, okay, so in these first 2 examples, you might catch that 0.001% of your audience who happens to be looking for exactly the thing that you're posting at exactly the right time. But that's not a sustainable strategy, right? Like that makes zero sense. So it's really, again, if you think about it from from a different order of operation. You have to court your audience. You have to give them a reason to continue to tune in to you, to your feed, because social media is all about just scrolling until it catches your eye. And if you're not providing value, if you're just, if you're just sharing your company's media assets, like nobody has any idea what that has anything to do with you, right? Right. So put it in the context of what it's done for you. Be willing to share you more than actually sharing your products, goods, and services, especially if it's just some fancy media asset that has no context. All right, number 3, you haven't grown your audience. And this is really, all of these are they're not uniquely separate and individual of each other. They really kind of are related to each other. Growing your audience is really important online. I think historically, as network marketers, we connect with people on socials who are people that we met offline. At least I know that's how it is for me. And so we think that we use social media as a way to continue to stay connected to these people, and that's totally fine. But again, if you're just spamming your feed with your products, goods, and services, if you're just posting your company's media assets on your feed, then the people that you connected with offline that are now your online audience, they're not going to really care, and moreover, they're going to think that you only connected with them so that you can promote your products and goods and services, your network marketing company, to them. It might work for the 0.001% of your audience who happens to be looking for exactly what you're sharing and what you're posting at that exact moment. However, it's not a sustainable strategy, and it's going to largely go ignored. And on top of that, if it's the same audience, if your audience isn't growing organically outside of the people that you met offline and then you connected with online, then they're just going to get tired of it, right? Like I've been in the profession for 16, almost 17 years, and I've been connected with a lot of the people online on my social feeds for as long of a duration, right? So everybody on my social feeds already know that I'm in network marketing. They already know that I'm with Yoli. They already know that I'm I promote and sell nutritional products. So continuing to post that without any context, continuing to just share my company's social media assets, and thinking that that's what's going to start conversation, it's going to be largely ineffective. What you have to do is provide value. I talked about that in yesterday's episode. It's that value ladder. Give a people reason to stop scrolling and engage with your post, and then therefore start following you. You have to grow your audience. Well, you don't have to, okay? So I'm not speaking in absolutes, but you can leverage the power of social media in this manner, and that's much more powerful, and it's going to be much more effective a strategy online than what you're currently doing. So the three reasons why your online social media strategy is not working. Number 1, you're using the old school offline tactics online. Number 2, you're using your company's media assets without context. And number 3, you haven't grown your audience and influence. So that's going to be it for today. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully it makes sense. I think it does. I putting this episode together and putting this list of 3 things together is really more of a reflection on what I've done in the past. So it makes sense for me, and I think it will make sense for you as well. If you have any questions, of course, you can reach out, and a great place to do that is on our Facebook community, facebook.com/group/path of the network marketer. Beyond that, if you're not already following the show, please go ahead and follow the show. Hit that plus sign at the top of the app, whatever app you happen to be listening on, and then share it. Like if you found value in today's episode, go ahead and share it. Take a screen capture. You'd be doing me a huge favor. And again, if you find value in this content, chances are somebody else will find value in it as well. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. More to come from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.